What is up, my fellow Dave Matthews Band fans and fellow guitar enthusiasts? Because in this video, we're going deep, deep, deep into the history of Dave Matthews' guitar collection. So if you're not much of a Dave Matthews nerd, or especially a guitar nerd, you're probably not going to be very interested in this video, because we get so deep into every guitar he has played. Pretty much every guitar he has played, because the guy has played a crap ton of guitars since 1993. And yes, in this video, we jump all the way back to 1993 at the Flood Zone and bring it all the way up to present day on his Rockbridge guitars. Here are some of my notes about the guitars and when he used them and blah, blah, blah. And sorry, my handwriting's typically better than that, but I was doing this really quick, so don't judge me on my handwriting there. I could not be more excited to do this video. I have been a nerd about the guitars that Dave Matthews has played forever. When like in the early 2000s, when I was just a teenager, late teens, I was doing everything I could to find a Chet Atkins ST. And I just wanted one so freaking bad, but back then it was really expensive. And I think it's maybe even more expensive now. So without giving too much away, we are going to dive into the Dave Matthews collection of guitars. I have no idea how long this video is going to last, but it could be a while. So if you want to skip around, I might even try and timestamp it in the description, because man, there's a lot to this video. But if you're a guitar enthusiast or Dave Matthews Band enthusiast, this is going to be a fun one. So let's go. All right, so our first stop, I said 1993. No, we're going all the way back to 1992. Oh my God, almost 32 years ago. We're all getting old. And obviously this was taken on a camcorder back in 1992, and the video quality is not great, but damn, it's so fun to listen to this. The audio quality is actually pretty good. So Dave Matthews' first guitar, this is the first guitar that I had seen him play in the history of the band, and it looks like he's playing, I think it's a Takamine. Funny little side note about Takamine, every time I see that, I think Take a Mine. Back when I first got into the guitar, I was dating a pretty young lady, and I took her to the guitar store with me because I was looking for a guitar. And one of the ones I saw was a Takamine. I wasn't a big Takamine fan, but she hilariously looked over and said, "Here you go. You can take a mine." And it was corny and cheesy and ridiculous, but I laughed really hard. And every time I say Takamine or think about that guitar, I think about that girl in that moment. So congrats to her. All right, so this is one of my all-time favorite Dave Matthews videos that is on the internet. I saw this before YouTube was even a thing, and I was like, God, this is amazing. This is Dave Matthews playing at a Blockbuster in 1994, August of 1994, obviously in Memphis, Tennessee. And this is awesome because this was right after, I think he explains it in this actual video, that they had just finished recording Under the Table and Dreaming. And he is playing this Gibson. I don't think I took notes on, no, I didn't take notes on exactly what kind of Gibson this was. I don't think I could find it anywhere on the internet. I've never done more research, by the way, for a video than I have done for this freaking video. So you all are welcome, because wow, this took so much research in this video. He's playing this Gibson. The inlays are really cool. It's got the little stars on it. I think the Chet Atkins, which we'll get into, had that too. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we'll see in a minute. But and maybe that's a trademark of Gibson. I don't know. I'm not super familiar with that. But he actually says in this video that this was the exact guitar, and we'll let him play recently here, which is so crazy because that just looks like a country cowboy. It's got the sharp little cutaway down at the bottom. And he says, I believe it's in this video, that this was the guitar. And he said it somewhere that this was the exact guitar that they recorded Under the Table and Dreaming with. Fact check me on that if you want to. It's been a while since I've looked that up, but I'm 95.73% sure that that's what he said and that was the actual guitar, which is just crazy to me because that guitar with as big and just as wide, when I say wide on the body, I'm talking about width playing around. It's like, I mean, look at how he's playing right there. That does not look like a comfortable guitar. That's why I love, like, I mean, like look at my Taylor here compared to the width of that thing is just wild, and it kind of gives it a, I mean, obviously a deeper, a deeper body like that, is going to give it a deeper sound. And I've never thought that he had a deep tone or sound to his guitars in any of the albums, especially Under the Table and Dreaming. So I was really surprised to hear him say that. But it might even be the D'Addario strings that he's playing. I don't know. Strings make all the difference in the world. I'm a big Elixir fan. I love the Elixir Nano Webs. They give it a lot higher tone, even if the body is a little bit deeper. So moving on. Okay, so I'm gonna pause it here. I don't want to play this video because I would love to get a little bit of monetization on this video. It's gonna be hard, I know, but if I play Ants Marching, YouTube's gonna get me for copyright issues. So if as you can see right there, I know it's blurry, but I'll pull up some more Chet Atkins footage. But this guitar right here is his Chet Atkins ST, and this was my dream guitar that I was talking about earlier in the video. This was the guitar, man, that I've always thought was the like quintessential foundational sound of the Dave Matthews Band. I love, love, love the sound of that Chet Atkins. I don't know where Dave found it. I don't know how he came across it. Maybe someone knows. If you know, tell me in the comments of where Dave Matthews found this guitar and decided this is the one that I'm going to play for quite a few years, especially in like the formative years of Under the Table, Crash. We'll get into Before These Crowded Streets because the Chet Atkins disappears at that point, but around Under the Table and Crash, this was what he went with. The majority of the time he played this black one. I'll show you a clip here in a minute of when he played the Sunburst design on the body of the guitar. But this guitar, again, I don't think he ever used it in any studio recording. I think everything he did in the studio recording was always acoustic. But the Chet Atkins live, if you go back and listen to Red Rocks, 1995, man, oh, you hear this guitar in all its freaking glory. That guitar, Red Rocks 95 is still one of my top 5 all around albums that this band has ever released. And if you've never heard of it, if you kind of new to Dave Matthews Band, go find it. It's on Spotify and any musical outlet that you can find that. Listen to it from beginning to end. Tim Reynolds is there, and he doesn't have like a lot of distortion like he has in the recent 10 years or so. Nothing against Tim Reynolds, who I always go to as one of the greatest guitarists of all time and most underrated guitarists of all time, probably, just broad scale. But man, he sounds so good. The band sounds so good. That Chet Atkins that Dave Matthews is playing is it's just so good. So go check that out. And moving on to the next guitar. Okay, sorry, I know I said we were going to move on to another guitar, and I guess technically this is a different guitar. Same guitar, different design. This was the Sunburst that I was talking about that I have. This is honestly one of the only times, and I've seen this video 100 times, and it's very good. As you can see up there, it's the Rockpalast, whatever, in Germany, July 8th of 95. And I love the old school look of all of them. This is what I remember when I really came into the Dave Matthews Band world. It was him in the pajama pants, oversized shirts, you know, the shaved head, like just and then like Leroy Stefan back there. I mean, it's just as 90s as you get, and I freaking love it. But that Chet Atkins right there, honestly, this is the only time that I've seen him play that sunburst, golden red sunburst, Chet Atkins, and I just thought that was a cool little side note because it's a cool looking guitar, and I don't know why I didn't play it more. I don't know. I thought I like the black better, but obviously, I mean, I'm a kind of a blackout person. So, anyways, I just thought that was a cool side note to throw in there. Moving on. Okay, so this is another really super rare video that's really cool if you look it up. He's in the Netherlands here, and he's playing Crash after it came out. But the craziest thing that I always thought about this video is he's playing look at this. This is a Lakewood guitar, and I actually wrote it down. A Lakewood M32. I don't know much about Lakewood guitars at all. I've seen them. I mean, I'm somewhat familiar with them, but I've never touched one, played one. I don't know what the sound is. Again, this is Crash. I don't want to completely ruin the copyright on this video, but you can tell by his hand placement that he's playing Crash, and by the title at the top. But beyond that, I just thought this was super random and super weird because I had never seen him play ever seen him play a Lakewood, and here he is just randomly playing it. So again, I told you guys, I did some freaking research here, okay, folks? I really feel like I deserve some kind of like a certificate or something for the amount of research that I did for the guitars that Dave Matthews has played since 1992. But honestly, the best thing you can do is just like and subscribe to this channel. That helps me as much as anything. Thank you. Okay, so this video is interesting. It's a really good video as well. It was 1996. It was MTV, whatever. I don't know what they were doing, but they were playing on MTV. This was when Crash came out. This was kind of the Crash release party. And again, he's playing the Chet Atkins ST here, and it does have the star. I said that earlier about the stars and the fret inlays, but so this black Chet Atkins he plays this for a little bit longer, but I want to point this out that this, just because this was part of the Crash release and everything, he played this guitar for the next few years, and then we get to Before These Crowded Streets and things change. For the better or worse, I don't know. Give me your opinion. Okay, so I know I keep saying all these videos are awesome and they're the best and they're the greatest and all that stuff, but this one truly is one of my favorites. This is the Before These Crowded Streets documentary. They really go deep. It was on the VH1, I think, and they went really deep into what a toll this album took on the band. I've referenced, in other videos how hard it was to record Don't Drink the Water and how they almost scrapped the song, how this band basically almost split up and ended during the Before These Crowded Streets recordings. But since we are talking about Dave Matthews' guitar progression over the years, this is where things really turn from the kind of electric acoustic. I say electric acoustic. I don't know how to describe that Chet Atkins guitar, but it was his transition from the Chet Atkins over to Martin's and then into Taylor's. But he'd always played, when he would play with Tim Reynolds, he would always play a Martin live. You can hear, I mean, live at Luther College. I mean, I will not deny. I know that Dave Matthews never played his Chet Atkins live with Tim Reynolds. If he did, it was like a 1 or 2 time rare thing, which I highly doubt that ever happened. But he would always play Martin's when he would play with Tim Reynolds live. And Tim Reynolds I've never seen Tim Reynolds, other than his electric guitar, I've never seen him play anything other than his full body Martin. But this was just a really cool little take from the Before These Crowded Streets documentary, where he and Tim are both sitting here playing, and this is where we see what this is where we see Dave Matthews bring in the Taylor. He might be playing a Martin right here, but I believe it's a Taylor. See right there, I think that's a Taylor with that sharp cutaway. All right, so we're getting into Rapunzel right there. Now, tell me what you think in the comments, but for me, as an very avid Dave Matthews Band fan, I think that the Taylor guitar era starting here with Before These Crowded Streets, and when it ushers in the Taylor guitar area, which I'm obviously a huge fan of. No, Taylor Guitars do not pay me for telling you that. Taylor Guitars has no idea that I am a human being. I just love the sound of Taylor guitars. I love the sound of Taylor guitars just in general, and especially for this band. I think they complement the way the saxophone, all the horns sound, the way that the violin sounds. I think the tone and sound of a Taylor guitar just bring the band together. I said I loved the Chet Atkins in the early days. I just think that is just the raw foundation of that band. To me, the bringing in the Taylor the way that they did from the Chet Atkins shows like maturity of the band. It shows what the band had become, what they were becoming, because I think Before These Crowded Streets was also a massively instrumentally mature album. Not that Under the Table and Crash were not. I mean, I thought those were fantastic albums, but I think Before These Crowded Streets, I mean, I don't have to tell all of you that know this band that Before These Crowded Streets took it to the next level, and I don't know that they've ever returned to that level, to be honest, and I think a lot of you will agree with that. I thought the Lily White sessions were there, and I wish they would have been finished, because I think they would have been the sequel to Before These Crowded Streets, which is saying a lot. And I think those two albums back to back would have just been insane. Okay, so one interesting thing that I want to point out before we move on to the Lily White sessions was in listener supported. This is so crazy because I don't know, and maybe some of you who know more than I do know. In listener supported, he plays this Martin, this full bodied, no cutaway Martin the entire time. They knew this was going to be recorded for a DVD. Maybe that had something to do with it. But he's playing this full-bodied Martin. And look over there, go with my cursor, and just, you got that Chet Atkins. It's just a plain old Chet Atkins. And I've wondered that since the first time I saw this DVD. I was like, why was it even there? He didn't play it on any song at any point throughout this entire concert. And to me, it's always just been like, is this like an ode to the death of the Chet Atkins? Because he had played it fairly regularly up to this point in 1999. And not, like I said, 98, 99 is where we just started to go full acoustic. And it's random because I know, like I said a minute ago, I know he played the acoustic Martin with Tim all the time and everything, but he rarely ever played that live with the band. And then all of a sudden you have listener supported comes out. He does that. The Chet Atkins sits back there in front of Carter's drum set and is never touched and never played, which was super interesting to me just in general. But let's move on to the Taylor era. Okay, so I know I fast forwarded to 2003 at the Central Park concert, and I just had to just stop and just appreciate how incredibly beautiful that Taylor guitar is. I mean, that thing is, the inlays, the sound, the tone, the quality of that guitar is beautiful. And I miss it every time that I don't hear him play that now that he plays a different guitar. That guitar is pure perfection. I love that guitar. I also, so this is, I took some notes. I think this is his 914. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's what I was going to say, is when he transitioned from uh, the Chet Atkins and the Martin to the Taylor consistently for years. Uh, I think he played the Taylor almost 10 years. And the 914 and the 714 are pure beauty. And the cutaway, like I said, the cutaway here is more rounded. I really like that sharp cutaway with the pearl inlays. It's gorgeous. I think I've looked up the cost of this guitar. I know it's Dave Matthews custom guitar, but I mean, if you were to buy this guitar, I mean, y'all, I want to say it's $10,000 to $12,000. I don't know. It's awesome though. It's beautiful, and I love everything about this guitar. And I wish he still played this guitar. God, when he got away from Taylor, I sucks. And so, anyways, I'm in the 2000. I know this is 2003. Like I said, I fast forwarded a little bit because I just wanted to look at the beauty of this guitar and show you guys what Taylor is. And he was also, so when they transitioned into the Lily White sessions, and when they released Busted Stuff and everything, that was when Dave got really heavy into 12 string. I know before These Crowded Streets came out, they did a lot of stuff, or he did a lot of, I think he did some solo stuff, might have done stuff with the band on a 12 string. But when they started writing Bartender, JTR, Gray Street, Monkey Man was 12 string. When they got into all those songs, I think he's even played Raven. I think Raven was on a 12 string on Lily White. When they got Big Eyed Fish, when they got into to all, it was like Lily White. Dave was like, "Oh shit, this 12 string exists," and I wrote it down. It's a Taylor W65 12 string. Um, and man, when he got into when he brought the 12 string in, I just went, man. And I think that's another reason that I love Lily White sessions so much, is because the intricate strumming and just left hand single string movements that he has within that song it's beautiful, and he plays it so perfectly. And Bartender, I mean, it goes without saying on the rest of the songs that moving to that 12 string Taylor was awesome. And when he brought in the 12 string, I just went, wow. And so moving on from that, we're still in the Taylor era, but we had a switch from, the band went through some stuff, and we switched over to what we played on every day. So let's check that out. Okay, so I'm not here to dog every day. Every day was just such a dramatic and drastic turn from what everyone thought the Lily White sessions were going to be. And Before These Crowded Streets was the last album that we all had heard. And so, when you wake up, I remember I was at a friend's house and we were like, oh man, they just released the first single from this Everyday album. We didn't know what was going on, and it was I Did It. And all of a sudden you hear this, and I just remember just being like, well, what is this? Like this is not Dave Matthews. Is this kind of a joke? What is this? And it was just such a shock for everyone. And as the album has aged and matured, it's been more well received, I think, by fans, by myself included. I really like some songs like "Fool to Think" and some of the others. It's not a top 5 album for me or anything. But anyways, we're talking guitars. Sorry, I tend to get sidetracked. Um, I wrote it down. So on Every Day, it was a Jerry Jones, most likely not the owner of the Cowboys. Jerry Jones Neptune baritone guitar, and that was that guitar that gave that wildly different tone and sound. He uses that on I Did It, Space Between. I mean, pretty much, I mean, What You Are. A lot of the songs on that on that album, and I think that Dave himself said that he saw it when he was at Glenn Ballard's studio, and he just asked if he could pick it up and just started, and then the ideas for that album just kind of started. I think he said just kind of started pouring out, and he was sending stuff back to the guys in Virginia because I think Glenn Ballard was in L.A. Yeah, so that guitar right here is that Jerry Jones Neptune baritone guitar that he always plays for those songs, and it's just the neck is much longer. I don't know, or I'm sorry, I don't know the details about the fretboard, if there are more frets. Somebody else fill me in on that. I'm just breaking down all of the guitars that Dave Matthews has played. I'm not claiming to know all of the details about every single one of them. And I also know there are a few times that I've heard him play like the space between, things like that. Um, I think he's played it on an acoustic baritone. I couldn't remember exactly when or what at what times he had, but I know I looked it up and that was a Taylor. It's a Taylor baritone. I think it was customly made for Dave Matthews. I don't know that the chances of you going to Guitar Center tomorrow or your local guitar store that is probably much cheaper than Guitar Center is going to have a Taylor baritone guitar. It'd be cool. I would love to play one sometime. But that I know he's played that a few times. Okay, so then moving on from this era, we're gonna move on to one of the greatest touring years this band has had. So yes, 2004, right after 2000 was probably my second favorite year I had seen them touring. Really, of course, when Before These Crowded Streets came out, it was awesome. But I think 2004 was so great because you didn't know what to expect because you had you know every day. I think Stand Up was out at this point. You didn't know what the band was really kind of doing, and this was 2004 was when they got back to their roots. And I think this is the Sharp Cutaway Taylor 714 914. Again, someone who's smarter than me, tell me how to tell the difference between the 914 and the 714. I should know, and I don't. I'm sorry, but yeah, sue me. But this was like, I mean, Sugar Will, Crazy Easy, Joyride, all those great '04 songs that have still yet to have been released. Still drives me crazy, um, but he was still playing that Taylor, and everything was sounding good. And then fast forward after this, and we're moving on to some more interesting guitars as we get into Big Whiskey and the Gru Gux King. Okay, so this is where things get really interesting and really cool. I looked up Shotgun here because I love Shotgun. They introduced this. This was, I think this was the first time, one of the first times that it had ever been played, and they were back home in Charlottesville. And this was that Valette. I wrote it down. The Griffin. I guess it's Valette Griffin. This is what they play: Idea View, Shotgun, Squirm. And again, this is another one of those crazy guitars that I'm like, where did Dave Matthews find this guitar? Like the Chet Atkins, I know it was probably obviously more popular than this guitar, but he just finds these interesting built and interestingly sounding guitars, I guess you say, that just sounds so good with the band. I think Shotgun, Idea View, Squirm. I love the way those songs sound. They did Baby Blue on this one, on this guitar. And man, it is a very cool guitar. I looked this guitar up, oh, I don't know, 10 years ago to buy, and I'm not a wealthy man yet, and I did not have the money to buy this guitar. It's not cheap, but God, I thought it would be so cool to do a guitar tutorial on this channel, playing that guitar and teaching you guys like what this guitar is. I don't know shit about it. It is just I think it's a 12 string, but it's almost like it's the size of a mandolin, and it is just a cool freaking guitar. And so he added that as we get into Big Whiskey and the Grugux King, and then they make another change after that. And so after the long history of Dave Matthews and his guitars, it's seemed as though he has settled. He has settled with this guy here, who's Brian Calhoun, who's the co-founder of Rockbridge Guitars, who you can see the video of he and Dave Matthews slapping each other as hard as they can. And I'm personally, I think growing up with this band and being so into the sound of the guitars and the tone of the guitars, the Rockbridge guitars are personally my least favorite out of everything, you know. But of course, we're talking about Gibsons and Martins and Taylors. And I think, you know, Rockbridge was a smaller brand. And, you know, kudos to Dave Matthews if he was, you know, trying to get in there and to help these guys out and everything to become a bigger brand, which I think they've become. I just I'm not a fan I'm not a huge fan of the sound of the guitar, and apologies to them. Give me your opinion in the comments. Which guitar do you think has the best sound, the best quality, tone, everything? For me, Rockbridge is at the bottom of the list. Like on that 12 string that Dave's playing right there, the head of that guitar is almost as long as the fretboard. It always looks very strange to me, and I'm just not as big a fan of the tone. And that's pretty much where they have been ever since. I know that when Dave plays Sweet, he plays a ukulele. I'm not going to go too deep into that. And beyond that, I know I've probably missed a few. I mean, I'm sorry, guys. I'm not going to get into, you know, something, you know, a guitar that Dave Matthews played randomly one day, and you know, in the middle of a park or whatever on, you know, September 3rd of 2007. You know, it's like I think I covered everything pretty well. Give me your opinions on all of this. What did I miss? What do you think of all the guitars, the sound, the tone? Like I said, if I'm going to rank them, number one obviously is the Taylor. Number two is going to be that Chet Atkins with just the foundational sound of this band. And number three is always going to be the Martin that he, you know, playing that with Tim Reynolds and everything acoustically was so good. And in the comments, keep letting me know, you know, what kind of material you want me to bring to this channel. I've got more tutorials. I'm going to keep doing that. I'm not getting away from that. I'll be doing those less. It's just hard for me to learn songs, you know, over the course of a couple of days. I can do it within, you know, a couple of weeks. But again, going through Walk Around the Moon and all that stuff now. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was super long, but I think it was informative to any of you who are interested in guitars and, you know, just the history of Dave Matthews' guitar collection. So like and subscribe if you have not already subscribed, and hope you all are well. Take it easy.